Boston Blue just wrapped its first season with one of the most efficiently devastating double cliffhanger finales CBS has produced in years. Lena Silver surviving a near-fatal shooting. Her boyfriend Brian getting hit by a mystery driver in the final moments of the same episode. Two life-threatening situations separated by hours. And then the screen going dark until fall. I honestly think the show earned every ounce of anxiety those final minutes produced, because this is a show that has been building toward moments like that from its very first episode, and it spent an entire season making you care deeply enough about both of those characters for the cliffhanger to actually land. Let's talk about everything, what happened in that finale, what we know about season 2 and when it's coming. Why the renewal happened faster than almost any CBS drama in recent memory. What the Baez situation means for Danny heading into season 2. And what the Blue Bloods connections that ran through season 1 tell us about how ambitious this show is willing to be about its own legacy. First, let's go back to the beginning. Because Boston Blue arrived in a specific and somewhat daunting position. Blue Bloods ended after 14 seasons with its series finale airing in December 2024. That show ran for 14 years, built one of the most loyal fan bases on network television, and owned the Friday 10/9 slot for most of its run. And then less than a year later, CBS put a spin-off in that exact slot and asked the audience to follow it. That is not an easy ask, and Boston Blue not only met it, it exceeded it. The show premiered on Friday, October 17th, 2025, with 8.86 million viewers. That was a 6% increase over Blue Blood's final fall numbers in the same slot. And streaming was up 87% compared to where Blue Bloods was performing on digital platforms. A show that was already doing well, replaced by a spin-off that did better. In an era of declining traditional television viewership and streaming fragmentation, those numbers are genuinely remarkable. By the time CBS renewed Boston Blue on December 3rd, 2025, only 6 episodes had aired. 6. The network did not need to wait for a full season of data. The audience retention, the critical reception, and the streaming growth all pointed in the same direction, and CBS moved accordingly. Amy Reisenbach, president of CBS Entertainment, put it simply in the renewal announcement: 2 new shows on Friday night have become instant hits, with audiences quickly embracing Boston Blue and Sheriff Country across broadcast and streaming. These early renewals reflect the power of character-driven storytelling, compelling narratives, and the exceptional talent on both sides of the camera. Now let's talk about what the show actually is, because I want to make sure everyone watching this has the full picture before we get into season 2 specifics. Boston Blue follows Danny Reagan, Donnie Wahlberg's beloved Blue Bloods character, after he and his son Sean, played by Mika Amundsen, make a new life for themselves in Boston. They have become close friends with the Silvers, Boston's prominent law enforcement family, and Danny's new partner is Detective Lena Silver, played by Sonequa Martin Green. The Silver family fills the ensemble: D.A. May Silver, played by Gloria Rubin, Superintendent Sarah Silver, played by Maggie Lawson, Jonah Silver, played by Marcus Scribner, and Reverend Edwin Peters, played by Ernie Hudson. The show is a police procedural at its core, but the family dynamics running through both the Reagans and the Silvers give it the same warmth and generational texture that made Blue Bloods feel different from a standard cop show. And the show has not abandoned its Blue Bloods roots. Marisa Ramirez reprised her role as Detective Maria Baez in 3 episodes this season. And the show made a genuinely interesting choice about where Danny and Baez are right now. They are finally in a romantic relationship. The thing fans wanted for years on Blue Bloods, happening now in Boston Blue. But long distance, Danny in Boston, Baez still in New York. And the show has been honest about the fact that the long distance dynamic is starting to take a toll. That is not a stable situation, and season 2 is going to have to move it in some direction. Bridget Moynihan reprised Erin Reagan Boyle in the series premiere and again in episode 16. And in addition to acting in it, she also directed an installment of season 1. Len Cariou appeared as Henry Reagan in episode 13. And Will Hochman reprised Joe Hill in the season 1 finale on May 22nd. The Blue Bloods family tree is very much alive in this show, appearing in ways that feel organic rather than like promotional guest spots designed to remind viewers of where Danny came from. And then the finale itself, because the season 1 finale is the reason everyone is now searching for Boston Blue season 2 updates and landing on this video. The finale aired May 22nd, 2026. Lena Silver survived a near-fatal shooting, an event that on its own would have been more than enough to carry a season finale's emotional weight. But the show was not done. In the final moments of the episode, Lena's boyfriend Brian was hit by a mystery driver. Hours after she had survived the shooting, 2 people Lena loves, 2 separate life-threatening situations, 1 episode. The screen cut before anyone could tell us whether Brian survived, and that is where season 1 ended. The questions season 2 has to answer are piling up already. Is Brian alive? Who was the mystery driver, and was it deliberate or accidental? What does Lena's near-death experience do to her partnership with Danny and to her relationship with her family? Is the shooting and the car incident connected? Was someone trying to use Brian to finish what they failed to accomplish with Lena directly? And what does all of this do to a team that has already been through the kind of cases that test everyone in a building before it tests the individuals? And then there is Baez, because I honestly think the Danny and Baez long-distance relationship arc is the one that has the most structural pressure on it heading into season 2. Danny Reagan spent 14 seasons on Blue Bloods building a partnership with Maria Baez that the show was always slightly coy about turning into something more. Now it finally is something more, and the geography is working against them. If the season 2 writers are smart, and based on what they produced in season 1, I think they are, Baez's presence in Boston is going to increase significantly. Whether that means she transfers, takes a temporary assignment, or simply visits with more regularity, the show needs that relationship to exist in the same physical space rather than on phone screens. Marisa Ramirez's status for season 2 has not been officially confirmed, which means that specific question is very much still open. Season 2 is coming this fall on CBS, Fridays at 10/9C. No specific premiere date has been announced yet, but based on season 1 launching October 17th, 2025, the working expectation is a similar mid-October 2026 window. The full core cast is expected back: Wahlberg, Martin Green, Amundsen, Rubin, Lawson, Scribner, Hudson, and Ernie Hudson, streaming on Paramount Plus the day after each episode for those who cannot catch it live. And the slot itself tells you something important about where CBS sees this show. The Friday 10/9C position has historically been one of the most important slots on the network. Blue Bloods held it for most of its 14-year run. Boston Blue not only inherited it, but outperformed its predecessor in it. Keeping a show in a slot it has already dominated once is a straightforward call. Keeping it there after it grew, the audience is a statement about where the network expects this show to be in 5 years. I honestly think Boston Blue landed something genuinely difficult in its first season. It built a new family with enough warmth and enough tension to make you care about what happens to them, while also honoring the Blue Bloods world just enough to bring in the existing fan base without alienating anyone who had never watched a single episode of the parent show. Donnie Wahlberg knows Danny Reagan so completely after 14 seasons that the character's presence in a new city feels natural rather than jarring. And Sonequa Martin Green brings exactly the kind of specificity and intelligence that Lena Silver needs to be a genuine equal partner for Danny, rather than just a new co-star. Season 2 is confirmed. The cliffhanger is real. Brian's fate is unresolved, and fall 2026 is not that far away. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Brian survives the season finale? And do you think Baez finally makes the move to Boston in season 2? Because I honestly think the long distance situation cannot stay the way it is for another full season. And I think the show knows that too.